just joined us, that's fine, no problem at all. But I need you to share this broadcast with somebody because I'm telling you, we got some good information here tonight. And I want to make sure that you and everybody you know has an opportunity to hear from our guest and hear the information that she wants to share. So we're going to first start off with our usual things and just wanting to bring you up to date on what's going on with When Life Speaks and ALH Broadcasting. First of all, I thank you all for receiving so well the two books. I always try to get this so that the light doesn't shine on it crazy. One book is called And It Is So, and this is the book from the 8 at 8 broadcast. A lot of the favorites that have been on there of encouragement and inspiration. This book and the companion book, Masters of the Mask. They are now available. They are out there on Amazon. But if you want your autographed copy, you got to talk to me. I would appreciate it if you send me an email. Send it to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. That's speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. And for right now, you get both books for $20 autographed, and I will send it to you. You don't have to worry about shipping and handling or anything like that. So if you want your set, and I don't know how long we're going to do this, so you better go ahead and do it now. Get your books now. And again, you can send me your information to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com, and I will be able to send it out to you. Hey there, Linda Cooks. Good evening to you. Glad to have you in the house this evening. And there's Miss Ashley Brown Poteet. Good to have you in the house this evening as well. And let me catch you up on one other thing. June 10th, I think we started in February, telling you to mark your calendar, save the date out there for June the 10th. And we are almost there, guys. We are almost there. Make it count. A celebration of 5 years in broadcasting for me. And I really want you to be with me. I want you to celebrate with me. Look, if you saying to yourself, gee, I wonder what I can get Elder Hines for Christmas, or, when her birthday comes around, I don't know what I'm going to get her. I'm going to tell you what you can get me. You can get me your presents. You can come to June the 10th celebration and just celebrate with me. I would love to have you there. And as always, you can either RSVP at 919-782-5405, or you can send me an email to speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com, or you can put your comments in the comments section. Just put details, please, and I will be able to get back to you and get your information so we can send you a book. Ashley, yours will be going in the mail tomorrow. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you will enjoy them both. I really do. So that's those are my commercials for tonight. One last thing, if you are a business owner planning to be at the June 10th event, I need you to contact me at speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com, because there's something special that I want to do for you. So keep that in mind, and be sure to share this broadcast, not just for all that good stuff, but because of what we're going to be talking about tonight. And, we put a lot of focus on the issues of breast cancer in October. In October, we pull out all the stops. We do a lot of amazing things. But the fact of the matter is, people are fighting breast cancer, period. 365, 24/7, even right now, as we are having this program, someone has received a diagnosis that has them fearful, has them on edge, has them at a place where they're just not sure what to do and how to navigate through some things. But I found some statistics here that I want to read you. One says Black breast cancer patients still have the lowest 5-year survival rate of any race or ethnicity. Black women have a 31% breast cancer mortality rate, the highest of any U.S. racial or ethnic group. And the other one was that black women under 35, black women under 35 get breast cancer at 2 times the rate of white women and die at 3 times the rate. Those are staggering statistics. And tonight I have a guest with me. I have Valerie Worthy with me. She is Vice President of Community Outreach and Engagement. And she is also the co founder of an organization called Touch, Touching Others Undergoing Cancer Healing. Touch, Black Breast Cancer Alliance. I'm saying it slowly because I want you to hear me. I want you to write it down. I want you to share this with somebody. Everybody has been touched. I dare to say that everybody has been touched by cancer in one way or another. Either if you have not had it, praise God, that's a wonderful thing. But you may have a family member. You may have some history in your genealogy. You may have a friend, a co-worker, whatever. But this is something that we need to focus on, and we need to focus on it more than 1 month out of the year. So I am very, very glad that Valerie Worthy is with me tonight. She's going to be talking about the organization Touch. She's going to be giving us some information regarding advocacy and something that is very, very, very important, and that has to do with clinical trials. So tell you what, just stay tuned. We're going to take a break and a breath right here. And when we come back, you're going to meet Valerie Worthy, and we are going to have an amazing discussion about this organization, the work that they are doing, and why it's important to you and how you can get involved. Hang in there. We'll be right back. There she is. There she is. Welcome, Valerie Worthy. Welcome. Glad
Thank
to
you so
have you
much.
here. Glad to have you here. I tell you what, this is Valerie is a cancer survivor. She knows what she's talking about. Let me tell you, when you need some information, when you need to get plugged in, when you need resources, when you need to get down to the nitty gritty of what is going on and what you can do to be an advocate or just to be a part of an organization that is doing some amazing things when it comes to Black breast cancer awareness is through this alliance. And Valerie, how you doing this evening? Let me ask you that first of all. You doing well?
I am doing well and just happy to be here.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad that you could be here tonight. You and I have had some conversation offline about the importance of this organization and tell us a little bit. I think that Touch really has been around for a good while, but I think it's been reignited, I'll say, in the past 2 or 3 years. Would that be accurate?
You're absolutely right. So the original founder, um, Wanda Willis McCullough, was a member of a breast cancer organization that I was a part of. But Wanda had started a nonprofit called Touch, and it's touching others undergoing cancer healing. And during the time that Wanda was getting treatments, where she was working, she was getting massages every week. And she said that it helped her so, so much. So Wanda decided, she was such a free spirit, she decided to go back to school to become a massage therapist.
Oh,
And
wow.
what she was going to do was provide free massages for all cancer patients.
Wow.
But unfortunately, Wanda passed away in 2009. And I was fortunate to be on her board. And I didn't want to just close the nonprofit because she worked so hard. So I kind of like put it on a shelf, and I knew that God had a special thing for this nonprofit. And so I waited until the right timing and the right person came along, and it
Mm-hmm.
was revamped. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I had the opportunity to go to your website, which is touchbbca.org. That's touchbbca.org. And I had the chance to listen to an interview that was done with Ricky Fairley, that was
Mhm.
on, I think it's ABC.
NBC.
Yes, and just phenomenal. Her story is
Mhm.
phenomenal, but the emphasis that you all have through touch is just covering all the bases. I like to put it
Yeah.
like that. I read something that says the constellation of exposures, experiences, and lack of science, which is what we're going to get into tonight, for Black women diagnosed with breast cancer causes Black women to face disproportionately worse breast cancer outcomes. And I tell you, I looked at that and I thought, boy, we need to be more informed. We need to be able to touch the folks in touch. And I'm just glad that I have a platform that will allow this information to get out to more people than it has. So, Valerie, tell us whatever it is that you think we need to know tonight.
Absolutely. And I thank you for this opportunity. I think it's vitally important in the African American community for those of us that are survivors, honestly, um, of anything to tell the story. You know, there's an old hymn of how we overcome and we'll understand it better by and by. Well, I
Mhm.
can tell you this, I am in my by and by. I was diagnosed 23 years ago.
Oh,
And
wow.
at the time, I didn't understand why I was diagnosed. I mean, I had been a nurse, but they don't teach you how to be a patient in nursing school. And
Mm,
so this was a new thing for me.
mhm,
But I trust the process because I trusted God. That's the bottom line. Otherwise, I couldn't have made it. I did not understand anything. But
mhm.
as time grew, and then I purposed my life to get on every highway, byway, everywhere I could go and share this story that cancer does not have to kill you if it's caught in time. And so we have to share with others. And I honestly call it the good news because living is the more excellent way. But for years, we all in our African American communities thought that cancer equals death.
Right.
And that's not true. Oftentimes when I tell people that I am a survivor, they say, you don't look like you had cancer. Well, what do we
What?
think the look
Yeah.
is? I
Mhm,
haven't figured that one out.
mhm,
But that we have this perception of what cancer looks like. And I think that we are then afraid to share it for fear that people will say they got the look, they have the cancer look, which isn't true at all.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. It is a very, you and I were also talking this evening about, because I too am a cancer survivor,
Mhm.
not of breast cancer, but cervical cancer. And you said that things really haven't changed as much as I perceived that they had, because I've been a cancer survivor for many, many years. And I know when I was diagnosed, it was like the plague. I mean, it's the C word,
Right.
that's what people said, the C word.
Mhm.
They didn't encourage you to get prayer. They didn't encourage you to talk about it. They didn't encourage you to do any of those things.
Right.
So, as you had put it, a lot of people suffered in silence
Right.
as a result of that. But you also said, um, unbeknownst to me, that that has not changed a lot.
It hasn't. It hasn't changed as much as I would like it to be. So, um, I am a nurse navigator at a local cancer center, and I still have patients that have difficulty sharing it with their family members, and
Tell us,
that
tell us what a
includes.
nurse navigator is. Tell
So
us
a
what.
nurse navigator is it could be a nurse or some healthcare professional that helps the patient through that whole continuum from diagnosis to treatment and through survivorship. So if there are barriers, which could be from transportation to people not understanding their treatment, their care, their diagnosis, that navigator is that center person. She advocates for this uh, individual. She teaches this person how to advocate, how to talk to your doctor, how to talk to your family, how to talk to your friends, all of these kinds of things, and anticipates problems that patients may have. And you try to prevent them or at least um, mitigate them to the point that this is not a stumbling block for those patients. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So patients still aren't sharing that information. And oddly enough, and it's really not oddly enough, um, patients share, people share their information with their pastors. And so sometimes I ask pastors, after you pray, what do you say? Because honestly, after that prayer is gone,
Right.
is there instructions? And so one of the things that we want to do at Touch is to come alongside that pastor who now has to carry that information. I mean, it's privacy, and he doesn't have any more right than I do as a nurse or someone as a doctor to share information that someone has said they want to keep private. But he can share information about, hey, when you get to the hospital, they're going to talk to you about a lot of things, including your treatment, and clinical trials may be a part of it. Or can I connect you to a member that I know in the church that's gone through this?
Mm-hmm.
Or can I connect you with someone out in the community that you can talk to? So
Mm-hmm.
there are ways that we can help people and come alongside them to ease this pain.
Is there a formal program, or is there something that you all do right now to gosh, I don't know what what's going. You're coming and going here. Specifically for pastors or people in ministry, so that they get additional training in what to say or what not to say or how to say it or whatever.
I think that's an excellent question. So, Touch identified that as a need in the
I need.
community. And
Mhm.
so, we are working on helping pastors to have that narrative that they can give patients, I call them my patients, members, um, information beyond the prayer, which makes them feel good. But then they get home and then they have to make these decisions. And what do I do? But wouldn't it be nice that after the pastor prays for you, he hands you a card and say, "This is someone that we trust that is at that cancer center,
Right.
and he will help walk you through." Those are the kinds of things that we want people to feel like they are armed and prepared for this
Wonderful.
journey. Yeah.
Wonderful. There. That's good. That's good. Valerie, tell us now that I really want to get to, because one thing that I have found on this program, time goes by faster than I ever wanted to. But I want to make sure that you have ample time to talk with us about the importance of clinical trials, because we just don't seem to have a handle on what they are, who should be involved in it, why they are important, and
Yes.
how we can take a next step in knowing, you know, when the next one is, or how we can plug into it, or any of that. So you got the floor.
Absolutely. And thank you, because I think this is a critical point for us. Clinical trials um, has been a frightening term to us. And, and I think about Tuskegee, which we all know about, but in Tuskegee, treatment was withheld. It wasn't that it was given. And then we think about Henrietta Lacks, who her cells were used without her knowing, and it saved millions of lives. But when we look at statistics, only 5% of African Americans enroll in clinical trials across the board. So I'm not just talking about cancer clinical trials, but
Mhm.
any clinical trials. So if you think about your Tylenol and your Excedrin, your Advil, those medicines, the majority of the people that were on those clinical trials were white people and 50-year-old men. So the medication that we take, just
Wow.
our regular, is based on the height and weight of this 50-year-old white man. So maybe I don't need 2 tablets, maybe I only need one. But who knows? Because the trials are closed now. So any side effects or adverse reactions that we would have taking Tylenol, Advil, Excedrin, whatever, they will never be recorded because all of that is closed now.
Wow.
And so it is so important that we are represented. I don't think that we can pick and choose about how we want to be represented. We argue about it all the time. No representation. But when we get an opportunity to not only represent, but to save lives, we don't do it. And clinical trials is that opportunity. We are different. I believe our sales are different. And if there are not enough of us on clinical trials, then we take medication that may have an even more adverse reaction on us.
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you. I started out on a medication and it wasn't even a cancer medication. This is the last year. um, I had an adverse reaction to that medication. And my doctor said, "Oh, no, it can't be related to that." And I said to her, "How many African Americans was on this medicine?" And she paused. "Ah, you're absolutely right. But
Mm.
there were not enough." And so I ended up having an adverse reaction to medication. And so that's worrisome to me. Because now, how do I tell everybody that this particular medicine caused my cataracts to like grow fast that otherwise would not have? And I
Wow.
can't record it now.
Mhm.
I can't go to the pharmaceutical and say, "Can you please add this?" But had enough African Americans been involved in that clinical trial.
Mhm. We had something, and I believe it had to do with stomach cancer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the individual, the doctor was doing, I don't know whether you would consider it a clinical trial, but um, they were testing. Um,
For
they
the
were
H. pylori
Yes,
bacteria.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and as a result of that, I think we had. It wasn't very invasive. I think they took
Right.
a blood sample and
And you
you
blew in a bag, I believe. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and as a result of that, we had close to, I think, 100 people
We did.
to participate in that. And
Mhm.
as a result of that, we did identify some people
Yes.
who were uh, at risk,
Mhm.
who were able to be treated, and
Absolutely.
it may have very well saved
Save
their
their
lives.
lives.
And
Absolutely.
and I think that was indicative, or just a small
Mhm.
touch of really coming into an understanding of how important participating in these things are, that we have to get over the fear of it and over the thought that it's going
Right.
to be dangerous for us and
Right.
dangerous to us, so we don't participate. But we could be making some life changing impacts
Right. We
just
absolutely
our
could. Yeah.
participation.
Absolutely. The studies have shown that for cancers that have people that have had certain types of cancer that have enrolled in clinical trials, the mortality, meaning the death rates, have gone down
Mhm.
because people have done well on the clinical trials. There are more clinical trials that are available for people, and people are living longer.
Mm.
African Americans aren't doing well on when it comes to any cancer. I know we're talking about breast, but when we look at prostate, colon cancer, lung cancer, I mean, we're leading the race here, and this is the part where we don't want to lead, honestly.
Right, right. Bernice has a question down here. Valerie, she says, where can the information be found about what subjects were included in a certain clinical trial?
Well, they have there's a place called clinicaltrial.gov. And if you do www.clinicaltrial.gov, it's a national website, but it gives you all of the information, and it gives you what we call inclusion and exclusion criteria. And I think, again, that's the other biggie for African Americans. So for a lot of these trials, if you have diabetes and if you have high blood pressure, you are excluded from the trial. So, how many people do you know with either or both of these? And so that's why it's important that people that look like me and Ricky sit at these tables when they are drafting these protocols to say, now, if you do this, we can't be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be, put some limitations on it. Like if someone has extremely high blood pressure, of course not. Or blood sugar that's extremely high, of course not. But you have to have some parameters. Don't just say if you have high blood pressure or you have diabetes, you're excluded, because then you exclude a large number of our population.
Mm-hmm.
So there's work to be done on the outside to raise awareness, but also at the planning table. And if we're not represented in any place, our numbers will continue to grow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nakayata also mentioned obesity
Oh gosh.
being something that holds you back. Um, uh,
Yes.
Hattie, thank you for tuning in, and Nakayata, thank you, and Lynn as well for coming on the line tonight. And please, this is a show you want to share. So if you don't have to know anyone at this particular juncture that has cancer in order to share it,
Right.
because there you got coworkers, you have friends, you have family members, there are so many people who are affected by
Mhm.
this, that it is good information. Sometimes it's stuff that's just good to know. It's
Good
just
to know.
to know. You may not need it right now, but you definitely may need it in the future. I'm not quite sure what's happening, or whether the audience is seeing this flip in and out, but
Mhm.
I apologize for that. But clinical trials where touch is involved.
Mhm.
Now, would touch be an organization that would um, be aware of a clinical trial that may be coming up? How does it happen? How do we get to know when the next clinical trial is and how we can participate in it?
That's a great question. So, when it comes to the clinical trials for breast cancer, and particularly for those that affect women that have triple negative disease. So, when you look at a cancer can be fed by hormones like estrogen and progesterone, but they also cannot be fed by any of those. And so, when it's not fed by any of, including the HER2 um, gene, then we say this person is triple negative. triple negative disease is a much harder breast cancer to treat than people that are hormone cancer driven. So when you have a hormone driven cancer, you some people need chemo, some people don't. But you also, after your treatment, you can take an oral medication that'll help block that estrogen or block the receptors. With triple negative disease, after the chemo is done, there's no like other medication that you can take for the next 5 years or so. So it tends to be more aggressive. It tends to affect African American women disproportionately. And that's really affecting us right now.
What exactly is triple negative?
It means that
I didn't know anything about metastatic breast cancer until I've had a friend who had metastatic breast cancer.
right.
So this is a new term for me.
Okay.
What
So
does it mean?
some cancers are fed by hormones,
Mhm.
some cancers are not. When it's triple negative and they take that tissue out and they analyze it, they can't find any estrogen, any progesterone, and it doesn't even have like that HER2 gene. It has none of those identifiers.
Okay, so
Um,
that's the triple. Okay,
that's the triple
okay,
negative. Yeah. And
okay.
it tends to be a more aggressive cancer in African American women, and it tends to affect African American women under the age of 40 disproportionately.
Now let me ask you something, Valerie, and it may be clear to everybody else other than me, but how when we talk about breast cancer, okay, self-examination, and your mammogram.
Mhm.
We talk about cervical cancers and things like that, then that's usually pap smear related
That's right.
or whatever. How are you finding this triple negative? Is it only found after you have been diagnosed and they're testing that tissue?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's it. So
Yeah.
you know that you were triple
You would not know you're triple negative.
Okay.
They would not know until they, look under a microscope
Okay.
and determine that it's not fed by any hormones.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's something that is routine.
Oh,
That
yeah.
tissue is going to be
Absolutely, because they have to know how they're going to treat you and what medications they're going to treat
okay.
you with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's a lot of factors that play into what your protocol is going to be. For some people, it's better for them to have chemotherapy then surgery. So for some people, it's better to have the surgery then chemotherapy. So it all depends on
Mhm.
your genetic makeup, and just it's a lot of things that come into play.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
again, if we're not represented, it's a trial and error. This is what I say about clinical trials. Either we are going to be on them officially, where they can record the side effects, the adverse reaction, or we're going to be on them unofficially, where it's not recorded. But either way, all of us have and will be on a clinical trial. So choose whatever you want to do, but you're going to be on a clinical trial. If not enough of us are on a particular medicine that's not even a cancer related medicine, if we decide to take it and we have some reaction, unofficially, we're on a clinical trial. It's just not recorded.
Mhm.
And that's what's happening. Like,
Mhm.
why wouldn't you want to have your own voice in this? Like, why would you want someone else to determine what you're going to take and how much you're going to take
How
of
much
it?
you can take. Right. Right.
For everything that we have fought for, why would you want to do that?
Yeah. Nakayada had a question, and she says, "What if you take the bracelet gene test?" And she says, "BRCA, the
Uh-huh.
bracelet gene test. What is that?"
Now, when you take that says whether or not you have like the gene for breast cancer. I think, let me see, Angelique Jolie
Yeah,
um,
Angelina
tested
Jolie. Hmm.
for that, and she elected to have, mastectomy, because it really does increase your chances of getting breast cancer if you have that, BRCA1 or 2 gene.
But where would you how would you take that? Would you do you sign up for that just like you sign up for a mammogram? Is that part of a mammogram? Is it
It's
something
not.
that
It's not really part of a mammogram. It's something like uh, different. And a lot of people do it because they have a family history
okay? So
of
you
that.
probably wouldn't be aware of it or be privy to anything about it without having that family history.
Yeah, without that
That's what
knowledge.
kind of drives it. Okay, I got
Right,
you. I
right.
got you. Now,
And
has
again, because we don't talk about it,
hmm
we wouldn't know to even ask
yeah,
questions about it.
I've never heard of it.
And this is the thing,
Thank you.
this thing is so familiar. Like, so for me, I'm a breast cancer survivor. So if I didn't have these conversations with my family, did my brother would know that because his sister is a breast cancer survivor, that might predispose, he might have, prostate cancer, it might predispose him to prostate cancer. The sister with breast cancer, the brother, that increases his risk for prostate cancer. The dad with prostate cancer, that predisposes his daughter to breast cancer. These things have relation,
Hmm.
but if we don't talk about it, then we don't know what to fight for. And is that fair? We say we love our family. Is that fair?
Right, right.
It's not. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so I've heard this good information. My listeners have heard this good information, and we're making a decision. Okay, I want to get involved somehow. I want to get involved, and I know there's always a way to give, and there's always a way to financially support organizations. But what else can I do? I do encourage everybody to go to the website,
Mm-hmm.
go to touchbbca.org and just go through it. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
things that are there. Look at some of the statistics that are there. They have a calendar of events and things that they participate in. Touch will be represented June 10th. For those of you who are coming, who've already got your tickets or who will be getting your tickets, Touch is one of the nonprofit organizations that will be represented. So you can get more questions
Mm-hmm.
answered. You can find out more information and more ways that you can support not just
Mm-hmm.
the organization, but the people in your community. Thank you, Ashley, for typing that in. And Alan, if you have a chance to just put Ashley's comment there because she has the website written down. But if you have an opportunity to come on the 10th, spend some time with Valerie. She is going to be there, and they're going to have a table set up and
Mm-hmm.
more information, printed information that she can give to you. But
Yeah.
now, Valerie, what can you tell me? What would you suggest that I do like tomorrow?
So and this is something I think that's very simple, but sometimes it's very difficult. I think that we have to start having these honest conversations with people that we love. Have them, and frame it in a way that is comfortable. Like, ask your friend, ask your daughter, ask your sister, ask your mother. Do you ever think about cancer anytime? Do you ever think about what we could do to fight this? Where do you think cancer came from? Does anybody in our family, do you know of anybody in our family that had cancer? What kind of cancer was it? And
Mhm.
just begin to understand. hmm, oh, it was prostate, or it was ovarian, or if it was lung cancer, because this is the reality. This is, to me, this is very, very scary. Of all the cancers, only 14% of them have like a screening attached to it where we can detect it. The other cancers have no screening. So
Wow.
what you do is you present to your doctor with the ache and a pain, and then that cancer is discovered. So you think about the pancreatic cancer or the ovarian cancers. I mean, there's so many, but only 14% of the cancers have a screening. Prostate, breast, for example, colon cancer. You know, those that we can get screened for, we need to know what the screening guidelines are and get it done. And
Mm-hmm.
in the others, we need to just be in tune to our bodies. Our bodies speak to us. I think it talks, and we just don't listen sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have to, I think we really have to be in tune with our mind, body, and soul.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is so good, Valerie. And I thank you so much for taking the time, not only to carve out time to be with us on the 10th, but to be here with When Life Speaks this evening and give us this information. And I tell you, folks, I don't know about you, but the only time I really think about it is when I go to the doctor, when I have to go to the doctor and I have to fill out that form about family history.
Mm,
And they're asking, did your parent
yeah.
or sibling or whatever have this, and this? And some of it I know, and some of it I have absolutely no idea. And as the family members age, we lose that opportunity to find out, to know what grandma had, to know what
Mhm,
Aunt Beth had, to know, what Uncle Ralph was dealing with.
mhm,
We lose
mhm,
that opportunity. So I don't, my family doesn't have a reunion per se, but for those of you whose families do,
right.
I would encourage you to take that opportunity somewhere in the weekend, because usually you guys have stuff planned for the weekend. You're going to go to dinner, you're going to bowl, or you're going to do something else. Spend some time talking about your health.
Mhm,
Spend some time talking about health history
yes.
within the family. And I promise you, you'll be glad
Mhm,
that you did. You'll be glad that you did. Let's see. Bernie says, be persistent in getting your doctor to listen to you about your symptoms and don't allow them to brush you off.
oh, I love that.
Yes, 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 yes. So true. So true, Bernice.
Mhm,
Thank you for that comment. And thank you all for joining tonight. Thank you for having an interest in something that is affecting all of us
yes.
in some way, shape, or form. Valerie, do you have any closing comments for us before we end the program for tonight?
Yes, I just think that life is speaking, and when life speaks, we have to answer. If
Right.
we're not speaking, listening and speaking, then what do we do? And
Mhm.
so this thing is all about a call and a response. Call, life
Call
is
and
speaking. How
response.
do we respond to this?
Hmm.
By being proactive
Yeah.
in our home, in our communities, in our workplaces. It
Mhm.
is calling, it's speaking. Now we have to respond.
Well, I tell you what, I am so thankful that you came on tonight. I'm thankful that Touch is doing the work that it is doing, and I pray that we can figure out a way uh,
Mm,
to partner through this platform. Because, like I said in the very beginning, this is not an October situation. It's
right.
not an October event. It's all year. So if there's anything that touches doing that as a community or as individuals we can participate in or simply be aware
Mm,
of, I hope that you will think of us here at When Life Speaks and ALH Broadcasting and come back and share.
Yes.
Guys, this program will re-air on Saturday. On Saturday, we always do a replay of the program Saturday at noon. So if you did not get to listen to the full program tonight, be sure that you tune in, go to ALH Broadcasting at noon on Saturday. Share it with friends that you know. If they didn't have a chance to hear tonight, then they can hear it on Saturday as well. But I thank you. Thank you so, so much, Valerie, for being with us tonight and for sharing what you did. And for Touch, be sure that you give Ricky our best.
I will.
Thank her for leading the charge
Mhm.
in this great work, and I do believe it is a great work. So that is it for us for tonight. Thank you, listeners, for being with me this evening, and I hope that you got some good information, because this is the place you come to
Yes.
turn down the volume of life for just a little bit and get you some information so that when life speaks, you
Mm.
speak life.
Wow.
So that's it for us for tonight. Valerie, again, thank you, listeners out
Thank
there. Thank
you.
you so, so much. And we'll be right back here next week at 7 p.m. And I'm not going to tell you who our guest is because I don't know. It'll be a surprise to all of us. So be sure you come back and join it, because we always have something that is of use to you. So that's it for us for tonight. Again, Valerie, thank you so, so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us. And guys, put us on your calendar. You don't want to miss what we've got going on here at When Life Speaks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.